Is it the end of June already? No. It's July? Ooh, time to do my June wrap-up. Hi, everyone. Coming to you from within my massive stack of books. Over here, I filmed a book haul that I'm going to be putting up soon, and I also have a wide variety of other mess. And I also have lots of sunburn, as you can see. So it is time to do my June wrap-up. Okay, so I'm going to start with a few stats. In June, I had a much better month than in May. I ended up reading 8 books, and I hit my goal of 3,000 words a month with 3,069. I had an average rating of 4.3 because I ended up with, I think it was 4 or 5 stars. I'll tell you in a minute when I actually look at them. And so it actually was a really good reading month that way. I didn't have to DNF any. If you hear a bell in the background, it's the kittens playing with their bell toy. None of them were rereads. So they were all new books. I had 7 of the 8 were new authors that I hadn't read before. So that was kind of interesting. I wasn't duplicating authors this time. All 8 of them were novels that I completed. My top genres this time, I had 3 fantasy and 2 thrillers. So those were kind of my top genres. And then I had a historical fiction, a horror, and a mystery. For a source, 6 came from the library and 2 were owned. So I had a much higher library percentage this month. I believe last month was pretty much 4 and 2 from the library and owned. The month before, April, was 6 and 5. So I'm kind of keeping around that 50-50, 60-40 split because I want to be making use of my library, but I also want to be reading the books that I own on my TBR. For age range, they were all adult books. Format, I read 6 physical books, 1 ebook, and 1 that was both ebook and physical book. Just because I had gotten the ebook first, so I started it, and then the ebook had to go back, and I got the physical book, and I was able to read that. For series reads, I did read 3 series books, but 2 of them were new series again. So I'm still adding new series, but I didn't DNF any series. I didn't finish any series, but I did continue 1. So that was good. Actually, technically, wait a second. I did finish 1. Was that this month? Let me look. Yes, I did finish a series. Woohoo! I need to change that in my journal. There's my pen. There it is. In amongst my mess here. That'll work. I finished 1 series. Let's change that in my book journal here. Finished 1. This is my book journal that I made from myself and my sisters, and I'm making another one next year. I think the theme for next year is going to be cats. So I have to do some artwork and get everything organized. And this was our first year doing it. So I, at some point during the year here, I'll go through and I'll show you guys what I did. So there's a few flaws that I'm going to fix for next year. And anyways, yeah, so that's my journal. But I did finish 1 series. Now let's talk about the books that I actually read. I'm going to tell you them in order of, let's see, what would be a fun order to tell you? Let's tell you them in alphabetical order, starting at the top. So the first one would be E. So I read Eat the Ones You Love by Sarah Maria Griffin. This one I read for a book club. I don't normally read this kind of book, but I actually quite enjoyed it. It was a horror. In this one, you're following there's this woman who has moved back to her hometown. I believe it's in Ireland. She's moved back to her hometown after a failed relationship, and she ends up working at she goes into this old decrepit mall that's been there forever, and she sees a help wanted sign at this flower shop. So she goes into the flower shop and asks about the job and decides to take it. And so you're following her and the lady who runs the flower shop. Her name is Neve. Neve, I think is how you say it. I can't remember what the main character's name is because I don't have the books. It was from the library, but anyways, well, they're kind of both main characters, but you're following them as they kind of have a bit of a budding relationship, and there's things like that going on. But there's also this creepy. You discover fairly quickly on that the story is actually being told from the point of view of this creepy plant that is sentient and likes to eat people. And so it was very interesting. It was very creepy, but I did find the end quite satisfying. I ended up giving that one 3.5 stars. Next would be, let's see. Well, I got a couple with G, so let's see. Okay. Just trying to figure out which one came first in the alphabet. So I also read The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. And this one, I have a vlog where I was reading a bunch of books that started with G, and I'll put a link to it down in the description so you can see all the details. But this book follows it takes place in a summer camp, and it has multiple timelines. And it's this summer camp where these rich kids go, and it's run by this big family. And the daughter of the family decides to go to camp that year, and she goes missing. But 15 or 16 years before, her brother had gone missing in the same area and was never found. And so you're following not only the mystery of what happened to her, but you're also following the mystery of what happened 16 years before. And you're also getting information and timeline stuff from further back when her mother was a young woman and all of those kinds of things. And there's a lot of family drama. It's not like a fast-paced mystery, but it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I'd like to read more from Liz Moore. It was very compelling. I found the characters especially were really interesting. They were very layered, and I really liked those timeline jumps. I'm finding that I'm really liking books that have those jumps in timelines like that. So that one was really good. I ended up giving that one 5 stars. Then the other G book that I read, which was for that same vlog, which you'll find down below, was God's Behaving Badly by Marie Phillips. And that one, I ended up giving it 3 stars. You're following the Greek gods in modern day. So they live in a decrepit flat in London, and nobody believes in them anymore, and they're struggling to survive. They've taken on regular jobs, like Aphrodite is a phone sex operator, and Apollo is a TV psychic, and things like that. And so they've taken on these jobs to kind of get by and everything. And their path ends up intersecting with this cleaning woman, and she and her want-to-be boyfriend, he has been wanting to be her boyfriend for years, but is too shy to ask her. Their lives end up intersecting. Essentially, she turns their life upside down, kind of thing. And I ended up giving it 3 stars. I talked more about this in the vlog, but I find that I struggle a little bit when you're taking the pantheons of old gods, Greek, Norse, Roman, whatever, and moving them into present day because of the prevalence of sexual assault and those sorts of things in it. There was quite a bit of that in the first half of the book, and so I wasn't really enjoying that as much. But in the second half of the book, you kind of started to follow the hero's journey. And that part, once it hit the second half of the book, I really enjoyed it. So that's why I ended up giving it 3 stars. I'm not sad that I read it, but it wasn't one of my favorite books. Let's see. Next up would be L, I think. So I read Look Closer by David Ellis. This one was a thriller, and it was very interesting. I did not see the twists coming in this book. You're following this man who, at the beginning of the story, you see that this woman that he apparently had this relationship with has been murdered. And so you're following the events that are happening then, but you're also following events from earlier and you're bouncing back and forth in the timelines again. And it takes place over the course of, I think, a summer. And you're following him, and you're following this other woman who is his wife. And she the two of them are they aren't in love with each other, but they love each other, but they're not in love with each other. And so then there's this whole issue of this affair and everything, and who actually did what. And then you're also following the point of view of this cop who's trying to solve it. And I got to tell you, that was one of the most twisty books I have ever read in my life. I did not see all the twists coming at all. And I really want to go back and reread it now that I know what I know, and see how I didn't figure it out, because I totally did not. It was such a good book. I gave it 4 stars, and I really would like to read more of his stuff. I find with thrillers, I tend to give them more often 4 stars than 5, just because I don't get overly attached to the characters in thrillers all the time. And characters are a big thing for me, but I just don't seem to get that attached to characters. And like in this one, for a good portion of it, I wasn't really sure who I was rooting for, whether I was rooting for the cop, or if I was rooting for the guy, or if I was rooting for his wife, or who I was rooting for. But in the end, I really enjoyed the book, and I found it a very satisfying story. So that one I gave 4 stars to and really enjoyed. Then alphabetically, the next one would be The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. I really enjoyed this book. It was so good. It's a murder mystery set in a fantasy world. So you're following our main character is Din. In this world, they have been scientifically modified or genetically modified for different purposes. And Din's he's an engraver, he's called. He has a photographic memory of everything, and he associates memory with smells. So he has these vials of different scents with him, and he sniffs that, and then he remembers everything. And he is working as the assistant to this investigator. Her name is Anna. And she is very, very unique. It's kind of got a Holmes and Watson sort of feel to it. And they're called in to solve this murder where a guy had a tree essentially erupt out of his chest. And so there's magical elements to this murder. But they also live in a world where the world is surrounded by these walls next to the ocean, and then there's layers of walls further in, and the richest people live in the center. But there's these creatures called the Leviathan that come and they attack these walls, and if they breach the walls, they can destroy the people and everything. So you've got that going on as well as, and they come every wet season. So you've got that going on along with this mystery. And I just loved the characters. Anna and Din were so much fun, the way they played off of each other. And I just love Din. Like, I just want to just give him a big hug. He's so fun. And I can't wait to read the next one, which came out earlier this spring. I'm going to probably try and order it in at the library until I want to buy them, but I'll buy them when they come out in paperback. So that one definitely got 5 stars from me. Then I had another tea book, and that was, I actually have it right here. I finished reading Tuck by Stephen Lawhead. So this is the series that I finished. This was the 3rd book in his Robin Hood trilogy, his King Raven trilogy. And in this one, you're following events from Friar Tuck's point of view. And you're continuing on from where the 2nd book left off. I'm not going to tell you much because it's the 3rd book in this series, but essentially what he's done is he's taken the Robin Hood tale and he has transplanted it into Wales at the time of, I believe it's the late 1100s, or late, it's around 1099, I think, or 1090. Anyway, he's transplanted the story into Wales in that period. And so your main character in the 1st book is the Robin Hood character. His name is Bran, and he's the prince of a small Welsh kingdom. The Norman king, William Rufus, or William the Red, the son of William the Conqueror, is taking over parts of Wales, and Bran's father is on his way to swear fealty to the king when he is murdered by Norman soldiers, along with all of his men except for his champion named Ewan, who is the Little John character. So then Bran ends up on the run, and he's trying to get his kingdom back, but there's the evil sheriff and the abbot and them are trying to prevent it. And I really, really enjoyed the series. I gave every book in it 5 stars. This one got 5 stars as well. My favorite book in the series was the second one, Scarlet. That one was my absolute favorite because I loved Will Scarlet's character. And I really, really enjoyed the series. I want to reread it. I'm probably going to reread it during my birthday month in November because I just enjoyed it that much. So that was another 5-star. Do I have a kitten at my feet again? Smokey will help me with the next one. Okay, so that was the 2 books that I had that started with T. And then I have 2 more that start with W. So next up, I finished reading War Bunny by Christopher St. John. This book was so funny. I ended up giving this one 5 stars as well. This book was so funny. It's a world that where humans have been destroyed in some kind of an apocalypse sort of thing. I think it was probably illness. And the animals are all that are left. And because of genetic modifications in the future and everything, the animals can now speak. And so you're following Anastasia, who's a rabbit, and she is different. She is pretty much, I believe she's like OCD, and she has a few things going on like that, which are super interesting. But she ends up getting kicked out of her warren because she's different. And so they're afraid that she's going to bring predators down on them. You want to go back down and play with Oscar? Okay, you go down and get licked by Oscar. So they're afraid that she's going to bring predators because she's different and she keeps doing things she's not supposed to do. So they end up kicking her out of the warren. So she goes off on her own, and in her efforts to survive, she gets attacked by some foxes, and she manages to beat them off. When she was digging a burrow, she ended up breaking a stick off, and it's sharp, and she ends up stabbing the fox with it. So she becomes kind of this legendary character for chasing off one of the predators, because they have like their whole religion in this world, which is quite funny, where the predators are called the blessed, and the prey are supposed to just, they're supposed to give up and not fight back, and those sorts of things. But you have Anastasia, who decides she wants to fight back, and she starts collecting a group of rabbits to her who are very, they're outcasts. So you have Freddie is one of the main ones, and he's far blind, and his warren gets attacked by weasels, and there's something suspicious about the whole attack and everything, but he manages to be the only one who escapes. And so he goes and Anastasia takes him in, and then there's Lovebug, who's one of the other main characters. He's a playa rabbit. He's so funny, but he was making moves on the girls in his warren that were above his station, and so he gets beaten up and kicked out by some of the older bunnies. And so he joins her, and then you have some other characters and everything, and they all start to gather and then start to decide that they're going to fight back. And you have such fun characters in here. I laughed out loud multiple times. My favorite character is actually, other than Freddie being my favorite of the bunny characters, I just love him. But my favorite character is Death Rage the mouse, who I swear is a Viking. And it was just so much fun. I loved the story. I loved the characters. Like I say, I laughed out loud during it. And I just am really looking forward to reading the next book in the series. I have the second one, which is called Summer Day. And then there is a third one out, I know, that I have to get. And I'm not sure if there's any more coming after that. So this one was another definite 5-star. Oscar, let go of that. Excuse me. That's mine. Give it back. Anyway, so that was another 5-star, and I really, really enjoyed that one. And then the final book that I read also begins with W, and that was With a Vengeance by Riley Sager. This was my first Riley Sager. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I really found it quite enjoyable. It was funny because I thought that I knew what the main twist was. I was convinced that I knew what the main twist was at about 20, 30% into the book, and I was completely wrong. So it was really funny. But yeah, it was. I really enjoyed the read. I liked his writing. I know there's some people who love his writing and some people who hate his writing, but I actually liked the writing. I really enjoyed the book. And again, like I say, that twist in it was completely, I missed it completely. Essentially, you're following this woman who has her father ran this. It takes place in like the 1950s, I believe. The 50s? Yeah, I think it's the 50s. It takes place in the 1950s. And her father was a guy who ran a train. He ran a train company, so passenger trains and everything, and designed them and all of that. And he ended up, one of his trains during the war, one of his trains that was transporting troops exploded. And it was later brought out that he had knowingly caused this to happen. But Anna, his daughter, her brother was killed in the explosion. And then her father was sent to prison where he was murdered. And then her mother committed suicide because of it. So she's basically lost everything. So she wants vengeance. And so she gets all of these people who were involved because she knows that it wasn't true, that what he got accused of. So she gets all these people who are involved and she gets them onto this train by themselves. And she's going to, her goal is to get them, make them very, very uncomfortable on the way to Chicago, where the FBI is then going to, she sent all her evidence to the FBI and they're going to arrest these people. But then one by one, people start getting murdered. And it's obviously got to be somebody involved or somebody on the train because there's only a limited number of people there. And so you're following this story as all of a sudden she's now having to protect these people that she hates and wants to get vengeance on, but she wants them to suffer in prison. She doesn't want them to suffer just by dying because it's too easy. So you're following her story as she's trying to make it to Chicago. And then there's also points of view from other characters as well. And overall, I just found it really, really fun. It was a fun read for a thriller. Like I say, I didn't get all the twists. It was entertaining. And that's what I ask for in thrillers, is that they're entertaining. So that one got 4 stars from me. So that is the 8 books that I read. I'll just make sure I didn't miss any in my attempt to be alphabetical. Yeah, no, that's the 8 books that I read last month. And I had like I say, a good reading month. I'm hoping to have a good one in July as well. I've got a lot of books that I'm trying to get to. I have a lot of books that I didn't get to last month, so trying to get caught up on some of them. So let me know down in the comments what your favorite book that you read in June was. And if you've read any of the books that I read, what you thought of them. And like I say, I'll have links to, I'll have a link down in the description to the video that I did on reading books that start with the letter G, looking for a 5-star. And I will see you guys soon on my next video. Make sure you give me a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. And is that you, Yoongi? And Yoongi and I here would like you to give us a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. You'll get more fun kitten content too, along with your book content here. Hi, everyone. And this is what you get for attacking my feet. You get picked up and then put into the video. He's getting so chunky. Look at him. He's so chunky. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. So yes, like and subscribe, and make sure you check out my new book that's out. It's called Riot and Retribution. I have a link down in the description to it as well, and I will see you guys soon on another video. Bye!